Hello everybody. I am going to trust that I am streaming because I can't see my little indicator of the ODB software, but there I can see this little light there. But when I start out here, because I want to open up on a terminal screen so you can see what's on my mind, I don't see that little dot. Maybe I'll show the taskbar at the bottom. I like full screen, and there's very few times where I'd prefer anything other than full screen for a terminal. Starting streaming might be one of them. So, how many of you have encountered this error? Warning, remote host identification has changed, along with a lot of scary stuff that goes along with that. So what I'm doing right now is I have set up on my NAS system. I had talked about on prior videos how you get like a little cPanel like interface for a network application server, and this is mine. So I go into App Center and I'll load up my container station, and you'll see that I have a single instance of a Linux server running here. It defaults to overview. You can see my little Bionic system going on here on my, I kid you NAS. So that is what I'm attempting to log in as. And you'll see that there's a way to log in locally here, which we're going to be using in a moment. But because of the attempts to set this thing up so far, I have encountered that annoying error. So let's take a look. Yeah. It's still Windows. That's where I find PowerShell, Microsoft PowerShell, along with its ugly color and font size choice. I wish I could fix that here for you. Maybe I'll fix it so that the video is better. Just another reason, just another example of how totally clueless Microsoft is about terminal stuff. And thankfully, they've moved on to a much better world than this. But for SSHing into a new machine, you actually are best off doing this because, oh, well, I'll show you. That's actually an important thing to point out, because you need connectivity. You need the ability to interact with these containers that you set up in your local area network or however you're doing it. And oftentimes in development, it's SSHing in. You SSH into these things, secure shell connections. And I'll show you the settings on this thing if I can remember how. I guess we need it selected. And overview, images, container. So it is a container. And we select it there. Start, stop, restart. Yeah, somewhere there's settings on this actual preferences, images. Oops. Yeah. All right. It's actually important to show. Oh, that brings up the terminal. I was talking about the terminal. Clicking on the host name there brings up the terminal, but there's our settings. That got me to what I wanted. And the important thing to point out here on the settings is under Advanced Settings. I am doing a network mode known as NAT, Network Address Translation. Hi, NAT. So when you do network address translation as opposed to a bridge, you're setting up a virtual LAN, which I explained in a prior video. It's the same as the QEMU default method. It's a great way for security. It's in a local area network that's shut off from the rest of your home network. So it's a good starting point. But whenever the host makes a request of port 2222, it's going to be forwarded to port 22 on the container. That's important to know for what I'm about to show you, and it should still be in my command line recall. There it is. So I'm logging in as user Ubuntu. I'm SSHing. I'm using the PowerShell, the Microsoft PowerShell SSH program to connect in as user at this local IP, which is the IP, I believe, of the machine I'm actually sitting on. It's my... No, I'm sorry. That is the IP of the LAN. The IP of the LAN, yeah, which you'll recognize here in the interface. It's the same one as up here. So internal on my network, I've got a LAN running on an IP that was assigned by the DNS system. It's on a particular port, and in there I reach into the different apps that are running there. So this is connecting to the NAS on port 2222, which will be forwarded to port 22 on the container, on the Linux container. And the problem is that not running? Did I do something wrong? Oh, no, I did it right. It just, maybe I was hitting the wrong key on the keyboard. Maybe I was hitting shift or something. I don't know. So here is that message that I put at the beginning of my journal, because so many people see this thing. It's a common problem, and we're going to solve it together here. I'll make a note of the whole thing, right, even down to the prompt, because that's good to do in my daily journal. I've had some interest on how I keep this daily journal, and I would love to talk about that, because there's things here going on that will get you off of VS Code, which will help you own your muscle memory and your soul. So I go here to my Linux keyboard, or to my Linux shortcut. I hit Shift 8 in Vim, and it drops me down to where I keep my Linux notes. And this is the stuff that I went through in order to set up this container. And so I got down really to this point, a restarting of the Open SSH services. I'm getting that error, and now I made a note to myself about what's going to need to change, how we fix this. And SSYN, that's not what we do. We TTYN. Delete old one and TTY. SSH, I might have meant to say SSH in again. So I'm just going to SSH in again, but I'm going to get the same error again. Any number of attempts to do this is going to get messed up. And that's probably because in the process of doing this, I attempted to connect and it failed. And when you attempt to connect and it failed, the machine you're trying to log into has seen you before and knows that there's a problem. Especially if IPs and stuff have changed. So what you need to do in this case with the software that I'm running, and it might be different in your case, but you need to log in through the terminal they provide you through their own kind of interface here, so you can always get to it. There's different things you can do. You can expand it to maximum so that it occupies a full tab. The default size is just awful, so Control Plus, since it is a web browser, we'll do that a couple of times. And I am logged in locally. This is not SSHing in. This is more akin to a direct serial connection to the Linux terminal. And all Linux systems, all Unix/Linux type systems, have a home directory, which you can get to with ~/. You can type pwd, which sounds like password, but it's not. It's your current working directory, and you confirm that you are where you intend to be. You can also get there by going cd/home/ubuntu. That's the same thing as that cd ~/. You see, one's a shortcut for the other. You can do an ls to see what's in your directory. There's nothing, but then you do an ls-la, and you can see, oh, well, there is in fact stuff in my directory. Now, I do not see a .ssh location as I was hoping to, which I hope that does not have too much of a negative impact on this video. There's probably another location that Open SSH is going to keep its keys and stuff, its exchange details, but I am going to make dir, because it usually defaults to this, in the current location I'm at, in a hidden directory .ssh. Oh, permission denied. Okay, so we'll just sudo that. And that, permission denied is actually a pretty big issue. That means that things running as me aren't going to be able to write to it. But let's give this a try one more time, that login attempt. I doubt it's going to work Just because I made a location for it to record that stuff doesn't mean it's going to necessarily work. So 2222 has changed, and you have requested strict checking. Okay, so it's giving information. Offending ECDSA. Oh, it's on my local machine in known host, line 11. So the place I'm trying to fix this, the known host I'm trying to fix it in, is not actually the one where where I need to do it. So opening this file is not necessarily something I can do on a live stream. However, I can imagine ways. It's going to be the very most recent file added to my known hosts in my users known host line 11. I even know what line it is. So a little trick I guess I will do with you is go over to one of my traditional terminals, which CDs into my GitHub directory, which is a child of that location that has that file in it, MIKLE. Okay, and now over here, because it's a normal Microsoft terminal, I can do this. I see no reason not to do this. And then I'll vim, and I'll cd ... Stupid Microsoft terminal tricks. cd.ssh ls, make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah, okay. And vim known hosts. Shift G, jump me to the bottom, take out the bottom line, save, quit, go back here, try again. There, that bottom line in my known host and my .ssh is gone. So this error doesn't come up again. So I type yes, let me in. Type in the password, and there I am. I'm in my server. Okay, so again, to reiterate, because I did stuff to keep you from really seeing the exciting part there, what I really did is this is a problem with the known hosts file on the it's really a Windows host from which you're using PowerShell to SSH in with. Prior attempts have made the last line from, you know, it's your Windows home, so, you know, I guess how do you portray that? It's yeah, from Windows home. That's usually C colon backslash users backslash username, your Windows username, and from there there's a hidden directory called .ssh. Windows follows the same convention more or less as Nix systems. That's good. Yay for Windows following conventions. If they're actually doing it, there might be something else attributing that for that. But the file inside of that directory, I'm pretty sure, is called known host. Let me double check that. CD, oh yeah, okay, that's the container itself. And that's where we actually logged in successfully to that container. So I'm just in that directory. It's okay to go small. It's just the contents of that folder I don't want to show you. It's okay for you to see the name of my files inside this directory. There, I have a couple of public and private RSA keys in here, and there is a file called known hosts. I had it actually correct, known_hosts. So that finishes out that point here. That's it. Prior attempts made the last line. Wrong. So simply delete the last line from known hosts. And you will receive proper, I guess it's a login challenge instead of an instant rejection with that above message. Notorious. And that's pretty much it. That's good streaming for this morning. I hope I get to keep this video showing. I'm going to look over it and make sure all is kosher. And thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. And don't forget to subscribe.